welcome to the HTML form handling part in PHP. In this lesson we're going to learn about how we can actually connect the front end with the back end and how HTML forms are going to be involving in this front end back end connection part and so on and so forth. This is what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about the front end, also called the presentation layer, then relationship between the front end and the back end. I have to show this one practically with the code examples. What is HTTP? We're going to learn about HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, because we're going to send values. Actually, after filling the forms, we're going to send the values using HTTP protocol. HTTP methods, post versus get. What do you mean by these two methods of sending information? And finally, there is task. You know that if you take a web application basically has a front end and a back end. When it comes to the front end, only the user will be involving in the front end. User is always involving, or he is always connected with the front end. He is going to do his interactions in the front end. If you take a look at these two example web pages, if someone is going to click on a link, that is the interaction the user is going to do from the front end. If he is going to click on a button, search button, it is another type of interaction he is going to do. If there is a form he is going to fill and submit, that is another type of interaction he is going to have, and he is going to do it in the front end. Actually, what we are not going to do today is front end when we fill the information, and if the information needs to be validated. Sometimes if you are filling up a form, let's move to the fourth slide. You will see that this is a web page that I have created for today's lesson. That this is a small develop example I have done. So in this page, if I have not filled the name, but I have filled all the other fields, and if I am trying to click on the register button, actually the system from the front end itself, we should block this. We should not let this happen. In order to do that one, we will need to use JavaScript. Once we have started the database programming, I will be showing you how you can make use of JavaScript to actually block such kind of a problem, or how to validate all the fields have been entered properly. Then the user is actually clicking the register button. So if you take a look at this front end, actually if the user is filling up this form, he will be entering all the proper informations here, and he'll be selecting the gender. Then once they click the register button, this information need to be taken to the back end, which is not visible to the user. Actually, to the right hand side of this form, I have presented the page 2. Actually, this is page 1, what you see in the form. Page 2 is the backend processing part, the code. I made the code available on the screen. Actually, the code, what the information is received from the backend, I am displaying that information for you to just to reference. Just I wanted to mention that front end is very important, and it is part of your web application, and it is the place where the user is going to have the interaction with the website. You will be having basically HTML links, search options, as well as these kind of forms where the user can fill up this form. Then he or she can click on a register or a submit or a search or accept, something like a button they will be clicking. If you go back to the slide number 3, again you can see that's the front end. I told you always the front end need not to be look like a HTML form. It can be just a set of links. For example, if we have a link like newly arrived products, you can click on that link, and that link itself can carry some information to the back end. In the back end, it can get processed, and the newly arrived products can be fetched from the database, and it can be displayed on the screen. We will be doing such kind of operations in the database part. Always the interaction does not happen or does not take place like that. Sometimes the user might click on a link as well. So the link itself will pass some information to the back end. In the back end, it can get processed. Get and post. Before we go there, we shall do something like this. I will quickly show you how it's done with the page that I have already created. If I go to chapter 6, there are 2 pages I have created. Let me show that one in Atom as well. You can see page 1 and page 2 both I have. Let me open both for you. Page 1 is just the interface that you little while ago what you saw on the screen. That is this one. This is the interface. The code responsible for that is what I am showing you here. Just to make it a little bit look nice, I just added some CSS code to that. Inside here what you see is just inside the body there is just a HTML form is there. Let us try to understand this HTML form. If we go to line number 91, I have defined an HTML form. In the HTML form, there is a class I have given because I am providing some styles at the top. Then action, this is very important. I'll look at the action part here. Once we finish filling this form and once we hit this register button, information is going to get received by this page, which is this one. You can see here, this is the page which is receiving the information. Once it receives the information, it will process. How it's been constructed, I'm just showing you, right? So HTML form is there. It will be formatted using the CSS code above here. In the form, I have given the attribute action, which tells which page accepts the values that are submitted from this form and how it will be processed. The method we are using, post. There's a heading, so there's a label here you can see. So if I click here, you can see the form is coming like this. This labels I have added because with the CSS code I have nicely formatted them, giving margins and padding values. Only that reason I have used it. So labels, I can enter the information. I have already entered there. Enter a name like that, and you can select, then you can select the gender, then you can click on register button. Then this information which we filled, you can see this name, address, this comma box is the province and the gender. This information has to go to the page number 2. Now here you can see page number 1. This is page number 2. This is the code going to get executed when you click the button register. Let's first click on the button register and see how it operates. So once I hit this button, it comes to this page. What you can see here is wordings coming like post, get, request. I'm going to come to that point in a while. Anyhow, I just want you to take a look at this. Name, address, province, gender. Name, address, province, gender have received the values in page number 2. The values that we entered in the first page, page 1.php file, what we entered, the information that we entered in the front end has been received in the back end. The same information that we typed there have got received here. That is the important thing. When you are doing your real projects also, you need to make use of this method of displaying the values what you receive from the previous page before you do any database operations. First you have to make sure all the values that you have received here, then you can think about adding or saving them in a database table. Let's observe the code in a very little bit now. Let's go to the page number 1. So what I'm trying to explain you here is, this is the label which you saw there. Then there is simply an HTML input tag. You know, HTML input tags are used to create text fields, password fields, drop down list boxes, check boxes, radio buttons, password fields as well as text fields. You can create using the input tag simply, and you can create date, number, all those kind of things can be used by using the input command. Then type, I have mentioned here, I want a text type. If you want password, you will say password. If you want date, you can say date. Likewise, here I have given text. Then this is very important, name. This is the name which will be used in the back end processing. This is very important. I'm going to talk about this one a little further as well. So name is very important. If you do not have this named mentioned, you cannot send this value from this form to the back end. I'm going to show you that one, right? So name, this field name is name or customer name or member name you can give. Default value I have not given. If you wish to give a default value, you may give, no problem. But for this scenario, I didn't want that. I want to keep the things very simple, so I did not give a default value. These values are very important later when you receive value from database, and if you want to display them inside here, you can make use of them as well. So for the time being, I am leaving this value blank. So I hope you understood that part. If you take a look at the address part, that is also the same. You can see type is text and name is address. So this is the field which will take the value and go to the back end. In the back end, we're going to refer to this value as address, and address will have whatever the value the user entered. So there also I have left the value field blank. Then if you move down, you have province. Provinces need to be added there. So I have added all the 9 provinces there. Sri Lanka, all the provinces, 9 provinces I have added. Accordingly, you can choose a province. Select is the command that we use to create a drop down list box. I didn't want to do any CSS formattings, just left it. name, see, it's very important. Name is very important because this is the name which is going to be taken to the back end. Province is the field that's going to be taken to the back end. In the back end, it's going to hold the value. Imagine if province is a variable, and if you selected the value north central, province variable will hold the value north central. We need to have an option group, which means male or female. We have to give the user to choose. Or if you have a transaction type, the user should be given the opportunity to choose whatever the transaction type. At a time, it has to be a single option. That means if we have given a choice, if we have given a list of options, it has to be chosen from the given list of options. So that is why we make use of this radio buttons. Here in the radio button also you can see input type. Here instead of text I have used radio. Both ones are like that. Name is very important. You can see I have used the name gender. Here also gender. So even if you make a simple spelling mistake in this one, computer is going to assume that the first radio button is belonging to one option group, the other one is to another group. So make use of this one properly. Same name for the name property. Here you can see value. I have given two values. Earlier I did not give. Here I have given male. Here I have given female. So if we choose the male option or if we choose the female option, accordingly these two values will be passed to the server. If you type M and F here, if you choose female, letter F is the value going to get passed to the server. Finally, we have the submit button and the reset button. Once more we will run the project. You can see we go back, we'll fill some other information. We'll put Alex. This time we will put right, Western Province is correct, and Alex, let's say male. Then we'll click on the value register. Once you hit that one, you can see name, address, province and gender. These are like variables. Actually, they are inside an array. All the variables, all the form components, all the form fields that you gave names have got created inside an array in the server, and they have been copied to that particular array in the server. And those names have the values which you entered in the fields. So for the name field, you entered the value Alex. For the address field, we entered the value Colombo, so on and so forth. So that's how it is functioning. Now I'm going to just show you the code a little bit. If we take a look at the page 2 code here, page 2 code has no any formattings, just the pre command I have added. Then you can see here echo command, then post. This is the built-in associative array in the server. Some people call this one as a global variable, but in the PHP documentation they are using the word, it's an associative array. We know what is an associative array. Array elements can be referred not by subscript numbers but by names. That is what is same what's happening here. You can see if you want to refer to the value Colombo, you have to refer to that place by using the subscript or the associative value, which is address. If you use the value address, then you can get the value Colombo. If you want to access what is the gender, you have to use the variable name gender, then you can get the value male or female. Now down here line number 15, you can see I am using print r command. You know that var_dump command is also there. Print r command, I think in my previous session I have already taught you. If you have any doubts, please watch the previous videos. You can see print r command. I am giving here that built-in associative array in the server, which is $_post. This is an array which automatically receives all the values which you submit from the form. In the server, it is available and we are accessing it like this. That is why we have given print r post. Now in the output also you can see that post arrays contents is what you see now. That is why I told you the array knowledge is important. Post arrays content is what you see here. Let's see what happens to the get array here. Get is also an associative array in the server which receives the values from the front end, but in our case the get array seems to be empty here. There is a reason for that. If you take a look at down here, again I am referring to another built-in associative array which is request. In the request part, you can see output. Request array also contains the same information as the post array does. Whatever the information that you have in the post array is the same information that you have in the request array as well. A special thing about the request associative array is whether the information is stored in the post associative array or get associative array or cookies associative array. Cookies, I will do it in a different lesson. All this information can be directly accessed by the request associative array. Let's go back to the code once again and I'll try to explain to you once more. I'm going back to the page 1. I'm going to change post into get. Get is a very old method of sending information. We will see that one in a while. What is the difference between get and post? If I change this into get, and once I go back to the page, I have to go back, I have to reload the page. Two things I want you to observe. I'm going to fill the information and address. Let's put KGOL, and that will be Sabaragamuwa province, and mail. And you can see once I hit the register button, not only the information gets passed to the page2.php, but also you will see the information on the URL. At the address bar here, you're going to see the URL. Next to the URL, you will see name, address, province, gender, all the values. So you see, first of all, when I'm going to click that, okay, information is going to the next page. Let's forget about this one for a while. Let's take a look at here first. Page2.php, question mark is there. Then name is a form element. We had form element. And Paul is the value I entered. Then there's an amp sign, address, variable that we had in the form or form element. KGOL is the value I entered. Form province was a form element. Sabaragamuwa was the value I selected from the list. Gender was a field in the form and I selected the value male. So though this information has come here and anyone can see this information and the URL. This is not a very good method of transferring information. This has limitation. Binary information like uploading files or attachments, you cannot do it with this method. The other disadvantage is in the address bar like this is visible. The information is visible, so you cannot send sensitive information like credit card numbers or any other sensitive information you can't share from there. Apart from that, the browsing history keeps record of this, all the URLs that is accessed with the parameters that you have sent like this. Coming back, let's take a look at the contents here. Now if you take a look at the code in once again, you know, the first part of this code is to display the values inside the post built-in associative array. We will see what's there in the post array. There is nothing in the post array, you can see, because in the form the method I used was get, not post. So if I had used post, the post array would have received all the values. Since I used get here as my method in the form, information are getting copied in the back end to the get array, not to the post array. My post array is totally blank. My get array is having the information. Now if you take a look at the request array, again the associative array in the server, request array, nevertheless whether it was post method or get method which you used in your form, the request method or the request associative array has received all the information. So we talked about what happens when you click on this button. Information is getting copied to the server's built-in arrays that we understood. So in order to view the elements, we are using the printr command and we are giving the corresponding array, so we could see the information inside. Actually this is a type of a debugging type of a code. Let's change this back to post, and once more we will try this and we'll see what's happening. And this time please observe the address bar as well. I will give another name this time. Right, let's click on register. So now again you can see information is getting copied to the post array, not to the get array, but it is always available in the request array. Now if you want to individually access the values inside these associative array, that is also possible. I am using the request array here, associative array, and I am referring to that associative name or the index, not the number but the associative name I am using, so I can access the value there. It is a very good idea to have all the variable names same as your form element names, and database field names also the same field names. So in three places we need: one, in this request array we need to refer, we need to have variables, as well as we need to have database fields in future. So you can save some time by double clicking that one, copying and pasting here, just putting a dollar mark in front of it. That's all. It can save you time like that. If you want to individually display them, what I'm doing is, first of all, I'm copying them to a variable like this. So this makes me easy to do the coding, because this looks a little bit lengthier when you are doing the coding. So these are variables. So I'm copying the values from these built-in arrays back again into variables, and with these labels I'm just displaying those variables. That's all I have done. So name, address, province, these are labels, and I have used the dollar mark and the variable name. So I'm getting the values as I want. So hope you understood up to this point. In this part we will see the differences between the get and the post. Going back or clicking the reload button, this says get part, it says harmless. Data will be resubmitted here. I'm going to demonstrate that to you, which means if we go here, the code in here, we have used the post method and we send the information to the page number 2 here. If I reload the page 2, what would happen is this information will get submitted once again, right? So if we have uploaded files and things like that, it will try to upload once again. Now if you're sending any sensitive information, you are having a risk of exposing the information once again. So if I refresh this one, so there is a confirmation message coming. You can see that confirm form resubmission. So let's go back to the page and we will change this one, get. Now let's refresh this page and see what's going to happen. I need some information. I'll use something which I already entered. Sorry, I didn't reload the page. I have to reload the page. As you can see, we are using get, and in the URL it is already available. If I reload this one, there is no confirmation coming here, and there is no, it's not going to resubmit again. It is harmless. That is what this point says here, first one. Then next part is bookmark, which means this one can be bookmarked. If you want, you can bookmark it from here. So for future references, it can be bookmarked. The other one cannot, because it has nothing to do with the URL. It's simply submitting the information. Right? I just bookmarked it. Later, if I want to go there, I can access that one. Okay. Then it can be cached. Yeah, you know what you mean by caching, right? So it's like in a temporary internet files, it will be stored like next time when it is reloaded, it can be taken from the cache, not again loading the file more faster. Okay. Encoding type is there. This one you're going to learn in upcoming lessons. It says application/x-www.form URL encoded. Here you can see application x-www form URL encoded or multi-part form data. So if you consider this multi-part form data, this is what we make use of to submit files. Actually, we will be doing that one, uploading files as well. I'm going to do file uploading commands. I'm going to teach you. So by the time we are doing file uploading, we will be making use of this. Use multi-part encoding for binary data. That is why, because if you want to send files and all, it is sent as binary data, so it can be made use. So post is the one you should use. If you don't use that one, it won't be useful. Here, when you are mentioning, you will write like this. ENC type, right? Encoding type, you can see there are two types. You can see multi-part form data, or this is what is the default one. I'm going to choose this one. Now from this our form, we can even upload files. Not only data, but also files also can be uploaded. Next part, in the history, it will make an entry. You know, it can be bookmarked also, so it will have parameters remain in the browser history. So later you can browse that one. That is why I told you sensitive information can be stored there. It is not so good. Parameters are not saved in browser history for post. Restrictions on data length is there. That means certain amount of information only can be sent. When sending data, the get method adds the data to the URL, and the length of the URL is limited. Maximum URL length is 2048 characters. So that's the maximum amount of information that you can send. There's an issue in there. Restrictions on data type. Only ASCII characters can be sent, and post no restrictions. Binary data also can be sent. Now what we submitted was ASCII characters, only values only we submitted. If you want, you can upload files also. That in upcoming lessons I'm going to do. After finish teaching you database programming, I will be doing that. Security. Get is less secure compared to post because data sent is part of the URL. Never use get when sending passwords or other sensitive information. So there itself it's mentioned, so it's not so good. Post is a little safer than get because the parameters are not stored in browser history or in web server logs, so it's not going to have a record of this. Then the visibility, you can see that data is visible to everyone in URL. Data is not displayed in the URL. So these are the basic two differences between get and post. Slide number 6 has the question for you to do. It says create a registration page. Actually, you have to create a registration page for a product of your choice for an online store. Try to use different type of HTML form elements and capture the information in the second page and display them with proper labels. So for example, if it is a furniture, then you say code, type, material, price, maybe dimension, maybe manufacturer, things like that. Discount, likewise whatever the information that is necessary you will use. Now we will do a practical part. Now I'm going to create a small page. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send some values and I will do a calculation. Okay, that is one part. Then I will be teaching you one more thing called how you can pass values from HTML links. Okay, how to send values from HTML links. First of all, we will see how we can do a calculation. Let's call this one as ex1, exercise 1 dot php. So let's change only a few things, right? I'm going to say enter numbers. So first one I'm going to say number 1. Next one I'm going to change as number 2. Number 1, number 2. This one I will say no1, no2, right? Then we don't need these things. We're going to say submit button. Value I'm going to say calculate, right? Let's take a look at that page, how it looks. So exercise 1 page looks like this now. So for saving time, I have given the CSS code and all. So enter numbers. So I'm going to type a number here. I'm going to dump a number here, and I will type, or I'll click on the calculate button. Let's multiply these two and get the answer done. So in the back end we will do that part. So first we have to receive the information, then we have to do the calculation. We'll see how it's done. In order to display the answer also, I'm going to use another same page. See, so it has some formattings, right? So I'm going to copy this one. Let's duplicate this. I'm going to change this into 2. Right, in the page number 2, I'm going to delete everything. I'm going to just show here answer. That's all. I'm going to delete all the other things. Right. Now, and one thing I had to do in exercise 1.php file, action. Once I click the calculate button, information has to be submitted to exercise 2.php file. That's very important. And method should not be get, it should be post. That's what I'm going to give. Now what I will do is I will reload the page. Let's type a value here 50, and here we will type 20. We'll click on calculate. It's as if it's submitting to itself, but if you check the URL here, it has gone to the exercise 2.php file. Answer we're going to display down here. Things going to be easier, so we will go to the coding. Exercise 2. Inside the form itself, you can do the answer anywhere you like, because the form is already given some formatting. I like to do it inside there. So first of all, make sure you do this command, right? This array you have to print and see first of all what is receiving, right? So we'll refresh this and we'll click on calculate button. There you can see this array is properly taking the values to the second page, and it is having the values. You can see number 1, number 2, they are having the values like this. Let's go back. Now I'm going to, I can do the coding, right? I can comment this one and keep it. You don't have to actually delete it, later you can use it once again. So I should make use of number 1. So you know how to get the number 1. Request arrays number 1. So we have two variables now, no1, no2, both will have the values. We'll have an extra variable called tot. Answer is assigned to no1 multiplied by no2. So we want to multiply those two together and we want to display the answer there. That's all the code. Right, let's try this one and see what's happening. The answer is coming properly like this. And try some values. So its answer is coming very accurately like this. So you can simply do things like that. Now let's make a small mistake in the code. Earlier also I told you, if you don't have the name properly given here, let's say you have not used the name property or you made a mistake like this. Now the problem is when you refresh this and when you send the value, there we go, we have a problem, undefined index no1, because here we are referring to an array item called no1. So this is not there because name property is not properly set. Now let's go back here and we'll fix this error and we'll see whether the error is going away. So name, we have properly given the name once again. Now once you go back to the screen, you need to reload the page to make the changes take place. Then you can enter values, then you can try. Now it's working properly once again. So hope you understood that. Giving the name property is very important. Let me talk to you a small thing here. When we are doing a real-time code in the upcoming projects, I will make use of this name as well as I will use something like ID here. And you can see that's displayed in blue color. ID also I will give something here like no1. That is easy for me to refer. What I mean by ID is when you want to write JavaScript to do the validations, we make use of this ID tags, not the name tags. We can do it with the name tags, but we usually do it with the ID tags. So that is for the JavaScript coding purpose only we are using it. So if you wish to have a different name for this same component, you can do it, no problem. You can have it like this. You can have a different name for ID and you can have a different name for the name. Name is for the backend processing, ID attribute is for the front end JavaScript processing. Keep it in mind very well, right? So these names need not to be same, but for processing or to do the code work easy, I prefer using the same names like this. Upcoming lessons I'm going to do it like that. So when I'm writing the validation code, I'm going to do this one. In this project we don't need that. The next part I'm going to teach you query strings. So there is a final part, it's called the query strings, right? So we will discuss that one as well. To do this one, I'm going to have another 2 pages separately. So without wasting time, I'm going to make use of my first page, right? Duplicate it. So I'm going to call this one as QS1 and I will delete all the inside components of the form, and I don't want to go inside the form. I just take the out. Let's take a look at it, how it looks on the page first of all. Alright, this is the page is ready. All what we need is an HTML link. Let's go to eBay website. Now let's search for something like, let's say we look for a prime lens like this, right? So if you are looking for a product like this, what you see here is an HTML web page. There's a image here there's a link here, things like this. Now if you want to get more details about this product, what you would simply do is you will click on that link like this. Before I click, if you can notice my status bar here, you will see a lot of information there. Actually, we're going to pass information through this HTML link. So once I click this, you will see that products further information appearing on the screen with other pictures, all the things coming up, right? So that is what is happening. So I want you to basically understand. Let's go and search a different type of a product, right? Let's search for a monopod, right? So if you're interested in a particular product, let's say we like this particular product here, we'll click on this one. What would it happen is it will send that information to the server backend, and it draws the information back, and full information is visible over here. All this information is coming like just what you're doing is you are just clicking on a link. That's all what you're doing. Okay, so we're going to have something similar to this. We're going to create something like so. Only what we don't have is we have not connected ourselves to a database yet, so we will do it in a simple way. Okay, first of all, let's have the second page as well. I'm going to duplicate the same file again. So I will call this one as query string 2, right? So, and we'll say page 2. So the page is ready. Page is ready, right? We are in query string first page, qs1.php file, right? I'm going to create an ordinary HTML link. You know, this is the command to create an ordinary HTML link, a name of a vehicle. Now, if it should go, once you click on that one, we need to mention that like this, right? Now, take a look at this one. When you refresh this, I have it in the second page. Sorry, I'll put it in the first page. Here we have it, a link. So if I click on this link, I can simply go to the next page. That's all. I can go to the next page. I am not carrying any information with me, right? And in the address bar, you can see if I click on that one, there is nothing. So we have to send information. So that is the part that you are learning now. So this is normally called the query string. We can send that one. So we're going to first of all use the question mark. Then, you know, when we were sending values from the form elements, they had a name to it. Name, value, name, value, name, value. That is how it goes. Name, value, pair. So we're going to give here like make. Vehicles have a make, model, year, mileage, things like that. So we're going to say make is assigned to. We're going to give a value. That is what the make is. Now if you refresh this page, you can see if I hold the mouse pointer and if you take a look at the status bar here, you will see the URL says qs2.php question mark make is equals to Toyota. If I click that, I go to the next page. I actually spelled it wrong, sorry. Okay, let's go back. Now you can see I am getting that value in the next page. You already know how to display this one. This is coming using the get method URL. Through the URL we are sending. So get is the method, inbuilt method it's using. So we can display that information here. To display that information, you know, first what we need to do is, we need to start it. Then we can say echo pre. Then we can say always use this one to make sure the values are properly receiving. Let's take a look at it whether it works. Okay, the array is receiving the value make, value as Toyota. So very simple. So it is receiving the value. So here we can type like this. You can give the make, you can give. So it will, with a custom message, it will display you have selected the make Toyota, right? that is one way of sending information. If you want to send multiple information, let's say you want to send not only the make, let's say here you want to send a Toyota Vitz 2015 model. You want to send this one. It is, the link is visible to the user like this, Toyota/Vitz 2050. That's the model, year of the model. So we're going to click on this one, and still we are receiving only the make value. So if you want to receive multiple values, we can program to do that. So we're going to do that part. So here you can see only one part we have programmed to send. That means the make we are sending Toyota. When you want to send further values, you will be using the amp sign. Amp sign, then you use name of the parameter. So I can give my model value Vitz. Again I can use another amp sign, then I can use another value, which is I can use make underscore here 2015, right? So those are the information I have given. Let's check that how it looks. Now if we click this one, it will go there. You can see in the URL we are receiving all that information, but we are not processing that all the information, but in the array it is of course showing. So I'm going to put some custom messages and access them. Go here. So we can put you have selected the model. That's all you have to do. Only thing is we need to make sure that we go to the other lines. Right, when I click on this, now you can see I have sent all these three values from one link. So here also we can send any amount of information from one link. So what is the product category, what is the product ID, all this information we can send. Likewise, so hope you got an idea about this. If you copy this link and you can have another link. So if it is another one, let's say Mazda M3. So you need to change these values. Make Mazda model M3, make year 2018. Later we will learn how to take these values from database and automatically create these URLs as well. That is in the database programming. Anyhow, the next class is going to be database programming, in which we can start doing these kind of things. So take a look at this one as well. Right, like this. Let's hit on this one. There we go. We are receiving all those information. Go back, hit on this one, we will receive. If I click on this one, I will get 2 error messages, because that by clicking this URL we are passing only the model, not the make, not the year. So when the computer is trying to access those values, it is saying those indexes are not defined. That is what the error is coming. When you click on this one, there is no error. 3 values we are passing in. So hope you understood that particular lesson. So if you take a small recap of what we have done so far today, we learnt about front end and back end, the differences. Front end is made out of basically HTML web page and other elements like images, JavaScript and things like that, CSS and all. User is mainly interacting with the front end, and the user can interact with the front end in different manners. When he or she wants to interact, they will simply click on links, they will fill up forms, click on the submit button, so on and so forth. They will do a lot of things like that. When it comes to submitting values, internally we use HTML forms. HTML forms have different types of things. Let me show you quickly. A method here, the method normally we use is post, and it has no restrictions. If you use get, you have restrictions, 2048 characters only uploaded. You can't upload binary data, and here I have mentioned it to upload binary data also. You can see this is encode in type multi-part form data. If you mention this particular information in the form tag, this form is capable of sending binary information as well. That information we learnt. Once the information is received in the next page, we need to make use of post, get and request built-in associative arrays. These are the arrays which are getting the values copied into them, so we can make use of them, we can access them as we want, and we can use them in our programs. So in order to use them easily, we can define our custom variables and we can refer to those elements in the array and we can store them and we can easily use them in our programs. Then we learnt about one more thing. Whether you use get method or post method, regardless of that methods, information will be copied to the associative array request. In all the exercises that we did not particularly use get or post built-in arrays. We were using this request array. Finally, we talked about query strings is a method of sending information using HTML links. So we will construct an HTML URL like this. So to which page it should go is there. There should be a question mark. After that, the parameter, name, assignment operator, value. And if you are hoping to combine more than one parameter, you will use the ampersand. Then you will use next parameter name, equal sign, value. Again, so on and so forth. You can send any amount of information, but make sure you cannot send more than 2048 characters from this one, because it's going to use the get method. You cannot send more than that information. So that's the summary of what we have learned so far. That is the end of the lesson. What we have done, HTML form handling. Hope you got a good understanding of this one. If you like this video, give a thumbs up, like and share. If you haven't subscribed to the video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.